Well, good morning, gentlemen. Today I'm smoking a old Salvinelli estate pipe, and I'm smoking a codger blend called Sir Walter Riley. Everybody who smokes tobacco knows Sir Walter Riley. And today let's talk about boredom. Now, usually when people talk about boredom, it's a bad thing. You'll hear a lot of people talk about boredom as being bad, and in some ways, in some instances, being bored is very bad. But not the way I'm talking about it. Let me explain. So, being bored is a lost art. That's actually one of the reasons I picked up pipe tobacco smoking. And is to kind of force me to be bored. You see, usually when I'm smoking a pipe, unless I'm in front of the camera shooting a video for you guys, I normally set down my phone and I'll light my pipe up, and I won't talk to anybody, do anything. I'll just sit there in boredom, puffing on my pipe. And that's really become a lost thing. You see, technology has risen to the point to where it almost forces us never to be bored. You see, anytime we have downtime in our lives, we've gotten to where we pick up a phone and we start scrolling through Facebook, Instagram, and that's actually been passed down to our children. And you see, that is where the problem persists most, is in our children. I look at my nieces and nephews, and anytime we're out to a restaurant, or if they're in a place they don't really know very well, they'll immediately walk up and ask for the phone or an iPad or whatever. And, the parents hand it to them. And I'm not blaming any of this on the parents. I'm blaming it on technology in general. But they'll get the phone handed to them, and they'll immediately start playing a game on the laptop or the game on the phone. And I'm not saying all that's bad, because there is some good in technology. But I'm saying it's gotten to where kids can't be bored, and that's dangerous. And here's why it's dangerous. If you like this video and you're enjoying it so far, hit that like button. It really means a lot to me. It helps spread the word about the videos that I come out with. If you haven't checked out my channel, subscribe to it, hit those bell notifications, and go and check out some of my other videos. I'll link one up here right now. Anyways, back to the video. Without boredom, there's a lack of creativity. You see, when you're bored, it forces your mind into almost this survival mode just to stay awake. And you start coming up with stuff. That's when you start daydreaming. That's when you start having these ideas, and you start playing around with them, whether they be silly or serious. Boredom forces you to think. It forces you to create scenarios in your mind. And kids nowadays don't experience that, especially to the degree that others of us experienced in our younger days. You see, I grew up during the rise of technology, right? I'm 30 years old. So when I grew up, computers were just being introduced into the house, and they were giant bricks. Cell phones weren't really a thing until I was a teenager. When I wanted to defeat my boredom, I would go outside and play. I would pretend I was a pirate, or I would, build something, even if it didn't hold together or whatever. I'd go outside and build something, do something, build a mud fortress and serve mud pies to my toad friends, or whatever I would do. And my family could tell you a million stories about that. I rode dirt bikes when I was little, things like that. And it really helped me get my creative mind going. And I think it molded me into the person I am today. Kids don't have that. And I'm afraid of where kids are going to be at in their adulthood today, because we don't get to experience boredom. When you take away that piece of the puzzle, the whole puzzle falls apart. And I'm honestly scared to see where kids are going to be, 20 years from now. What are they going to do when they need to cope with something, whether that be loneliness or boredom? What are they going to do? They're going to turn to their phones, but what happens if they don't have their phones? Are they going to have meltdowns? And I've seen it already today. I've seen my nieces and nephews completely come apart because their iPad died. And I don't understand how it got that far. But boredom is something we need to change. Well, let me relight my pipe, and I'll explain a bit further. Oh, boredom. Honestly, it's becoming one of my favorite things to do, is be bored. I purposefully now set down my phone. I purposefully won't plan anything. I'll get up in the morning, and usually you'll have a list of things you want to get done. Sometimes I don't do that. Sometimes I make myself be bored. And I think it's a good thing. If you guys can see Brisker running around, obviously he's bored, because he's running around here grabbing stuff out of the barn and whatnot, and having himself a good old time. And you just don't see kids doing that nowadays a lot. I'm not saying every kid is glued to an iPad, but I'm saying the majority of them are, or at least have a very strong unhealthy connection with them. I don't know where this world's going, but I hope that we come back to boredom in more ways than one. And I feel like pipe smoking started with boredom. People were bored. They didn't really know what to do, so they stuck some tobacco in a bowl and started puffing on it. And it seems to have caught on and became a very popular pastime amongst men, and it's slowly coming back. I've noticed more and more men on social media, on YouTube, or just out at the cigar lounges and smoking lounges, and they're back to it, and that's really cool. So stay bored. Boredom is important, not only for kids, but for adults too. And we really need to get back to being bored. So I encourage you guys today, set aside some time. Turn off your phone. Don't even just set it aside, turn it off. Turn off your TV, unplug it, unplug your computer, and decide you're just going to sit at home, sit there for an hour. Make yourself do something for an hour. You might get up and go for a walk, but don't have electronics on you. Don't plan on going anywhere. Sometimes I'll just get out and I'll drive, or I'll get out and I'll walk. I have no plans. And that's extremely important to me and to a lot of other people. You'll find out that you really enjoy being bored. So don't be afraid of boredom. Embrace boredom. And I'll see you guys in another video. Good day, gentlemen.